take a second. Here we go. Okay, we are off. Okay. Great. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to have everyone here. This is Celeste Brooks of Astrology by Celeste. I'm so excited to share with everyone about the moon this evening. I like to be interactive. So Jen is here helping. So you can just put any questions in the comments section, but I'll also come off mute. You can also come off mute at some point if I take a break and ask for questions and you feel like you'd rather share it, as well as at the end, I'll do hot takes on participants' charts. So if you're interested in having a hot take, you can give me your birth information, or you can put it in and Jen can read it to me. Okay, let's get going. Let me share my screen. Okay. Okay, so today's webinar, this is the first of 4, is called The Power of the Moon. Yeah, so just to introduce myself to anyone who's new, and everybody, please put how you found out about me in the chat, and your sun, moon, and rising, if you know them. I love to know where people are coming from, and I'll read all the comments at the, after it's over. So yes, please let me know how you have found out about me. I'd love to hear that. Okay. So I'm Celeste Brooks. I'm an astrologer, coach, and podcaster. And my podcast is called the Celestial Insights Podcast, where I bring every week to help you navigate the energies. We are in a time of so much upheaval and change. The goal is to help you be aware of what's coming up and surf the energies like a boss. Yes. So I specialize in natal astrology, as well as horary, which is the astrology of the hour, where people can ask a question and then I cast a chart. In fact, I think it's on this week's podcast, I talked about what horary is, so you can listen to that if you want to learn more, as well as mundane astrology, the astrology of current events. I love talking about the current events and how we see as above, so below. And we're going to see some examples of that later on. I'm the founder of the Moon Mastery Program, which is a class to help you learn how to sync with the moon. And yeah, you'll hear more about that a little later because class starts on September 12th. I'm a Taurus sun, which gives me this practical, grounded approach. Everything I try to share, I want to have some, for you to be able to see it in the real world, or put my tools into action to bring things to life. My Aries moon, we like to have fun. It's always supposed to be a good time. And I encourage people, to take some calculated risks for your life, to expand yourself and grow. Yes, and a Cancer rising, always wanting to have a safe space where people feel like they are in community and that they're cared for. And yes, okay. So just some personal things. I'm an avid reader. I've had my head in a book since I was a child. A Yelp elite. I used to be a Yelp elite, but they kicked me off during the pandemic because I didn't post enough reviews. So there's that. I have 5 planets in the 11th house of groups and friends. And so I feel part of my purpose here in life is to build community and help bring like-minded people together. Yes. And I love dogs, and flat-faced dogs specifically. My little dog Debo is a English bulldog puggle mix. Yeah, so my background is I spent 25 years in corporate America, over 25. I'm in sales, marketing, and business development. I have my degree in biology and my MBA. So I work for companies that were making life science tools or medical device materials. Yes, but I use the moon cycles to retire early. I had a goal of wanting to retire by 50 from my corporate career. And yeah, I missed it by a week, but yes, yeah, I used the moon cycles to take the actions to plan and strategize how I was going to make the transition. Okay. This is just how you can find me on my website, astrologybyceleste.com. And yes, if you're on my newsletter list, you'll get twice a month, I send out a new moon and a full moon newsletter. And then you get other goodies and updates about where I'm speaking and what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. If you want to work with me, you can enroll in Moon Mastery, or you can book a reading, a natal reading, a horary reading, a couples reading. I also do mentoring for people who want to deepen their skills in terms of reading charts and things. So I call it mystic mentoring. I also do events. So if you're I do corporate events, I do like charity galas, weddings, bachelorette parties, whatever, family stuff, you can do that too, or coaching. So if you want to work with me in order to, to have a longer time duration, we can work together for 3 months or a year to really focus in on your natal promise, the goals you have, and taking strategic and tactical actions in order to get to where you want. I'm on Instagram Live every Sunday, Monday at 10 a.m. And I talk about current events, the astrology of it, and Mondays I do my full oracle or tarot cards. Okay, so I love this quote from Buddha. 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Yeah, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Yeah. Okay, so this is the agenda for today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the moon's domain and the benefits of working with her and her cycles, and then some astrology in action charts, and then I'll do participant hot takes. I'll do as many as I can. This is supposed to be an hour and a half. When my assistant put, I think it said 2.5 hours, but I don't think I could last that long. I got back from my trip yesterday, so I'm still recovering. I'm not a spring chicken, as I told a friend a little bit ago, anymore. Okay, so the moon's domain. What does the moon? What are the things we think about with the moon? It's a marker in time. So the word month, the word month comes from month. And so people have used the relationship between the sun and the moon for thousands of years to denote time. Also, in ancient times, people used it to navigate through the sky, the moon, as well as the stars and its location amongst them in order to, navigate, know where they're going, know where you're coming from. The moon cycles have been used for planting and still used for planting and harvesting crops. So the Farmer's Almanac is well known for, telling you farmers when to plant and when to harvest based on the moon and her cycles. Also celebration. So you can think about the ancients where they didn't have electricity or only had, fire to light the night as well as the skies, the stars in the sky. And when the moon was full, the beauty of it would be a time where people naturally want to come together and celebrate. Yeah, the sun and the moon and their relationship speaks to like our emotions, are they growing and wanting us to be with other people, or are they coming inside and wanting us, to be more internal? And the moon is associated with feminine energy or yin energy. It's about receptivity, drawing things to you rather than pushing your energy out, which would be yang. And cultures of all over the world have associated the moon with femininity, and have moon goddesses who they have worshipped throughout the ages. And the common themes the moon has been associated with is magic, fertility, also protection, and the wilds, this this emotional energy of this unbridled nature of it. So Selene is one of the most famous, the Greco-Roman deity. And the myth was that she drew the moon across the sky in her chariot at night. Yeah, and I love the crystal selenite. It's a wonderful crystal that's been associated and used for its cleansing powers. It's also been often used to cleanse other crystals, as well as just a wonderful energy that this crystal brings. And Isis, the Egyptian deity, was considered a magical healer and a protector and a shepherd of the dead. She's also often depicted with this solar disk, so bringing in, that sun power, as well as, the cow's horn, which makes you think of Taurus energy, which is an earth sign, which is grounding. Yeah, so I love Isis's mythology. And Artemis is another one, who's a Greco-Roman goddess, with also called Diana, goddess of the hunt, the moon, and childbirth, virginity, and wild animals. And there are a lot of others from different cultures, but these are just three that speak to all of the different archetypal energy we've associated with the moon. Yes. Apologies, my throat is a little dry from talking, laughing, and carrying on for 5 days. So
hey,
this
Celeste, can I jump in for one
second?
second?
Yes, please.
I have about 8 or 9 people's birth information now. Should we pause on that, or how many hot takes do you think you'll be able to do?
Yeah, why don't we pause?
Okay, yeah, okay, everyone. Yeah. So if I sent you a note, you can still send me your info and I'll add you to the list. Otherwise, thanks, Celeste, for that info.
Yeah, I might be able to do more, but
okay.
Yeah. There are 4 of these events. So if I don't get to you today, there are others as well. Okay.
Perfect.
So were there any other questions before I go on?
Nope, no other questions that I saw.
Okay.
Lots of people saying their sun, moon, rising, and where they're from.
Oh, good.
And lots of info about where folks have seen you originally and how they met with you. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, and so one of the things I should also bring up, one of the reasons the moon is so important to me and why I feel the need to teach about it, or called to teach about it, is because it sometimes gets short shrift in astrology. I don't know why, but there's been, like, in modern times, kind of a move away from it. Like, it's just talked about as though it's just one of the other planets, and but its importance is not focused on as much, or the cycles and the transits of the moon. And I should mention that is one of the things that I feel is so important. So in astrology, we call the moon a planet, and the word planet just means wandering star. So we call the sun and the moon, which are the luminaries. So the sun emits the light and the moon reflects it back, but we call them both planets. And so the moon is considered the fastest moving planet because it is the fastest moving from our perspective here on Earth. And it moves about 13 degrees every day. So it really, the energy changes. It's beautiful. One of the most beautiful things about the moon is that we have an opportunity to get the experience of all 12 signs with the moon every month, because it goes through all 12 of the signs. She changes signs every 2.5 days, and she changes phase every 3.5 days. So the phases are just the relationship between the sun and the moon. Yeah, she's one of the big three of the horoscope, where we talk about our sun, moon, and rising, the big three pillars of personality. And she's very key in terms of electional or horary astrology. So I mentioned horary, where a person asks a question, something that's really important and personal to them that they want some insight into. It could be about a relationship, like, is John gonna ask me to marry him, or are we gonna fall in love, or whatever? Or like a work thing, will I get this job? Or if you lose something, where is my wallet? And yeah, we cast a chart, and the moon is always a co-signifier of the querent, the person who asked the question, as well as the ascendant ruler. So yeah, the moon is very important in horary. And electional astrology is when you're having an event and you want to have, the best potential. Well, it could be doing for multiple things, but often, like with weddings, people want to have an election done to know when to have the ceremony, or opening a business, or launching a course or a class. I use it for that. And it's really important to think about these things when you're setting up events. I think a great example is the Oscars this year, where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. They couldn't have picked a worse date to have hosted that event. It was Venus, the planet of, love, beauty, harmony, getting together to have a party, was what's called besieged between Mars and Saturn, the two malefics. So in a really hard place, between a rock and a hard place. And the moon in Aquarius was squaring all of this business. So it was just there was all this tense activity in the heavens. So, if you're marrying someone, you have a terrible relationship, whatever, the chart is not going to make the relationship good, but you want your event to have the guests to have a fun time, there to be like this festive spirit. So that's why people do electional astrology, and that's why the moon is so important in that. So the moon is a mirror. She has no light. It's all a reflection of the sun's light back. So she rules our emotions. So when you look at your moon sign, that tells you a lot about how you need to be nurtured, what you need to feel safe, how you react. It's also reactivity, how you'll react in a situation where you feel threatened, or where you feel hurt or happy or whatever. Yeah, our instincts and reactivity. Also rules intuition, when you feel like you just know, that feeling we feel in our gut. The moon rules the stomach, in terms of the body parts. All of the planets rule different body parts. The moon rules the stomach. So you can, you get that feeling in your gut. Our needs, our habits. It's also memory. The moon is memory. It like stores everything. It rules our sense of belonging or lack thereof. It's also about magnetism, popularity. It's also kind of a moon. One of the things the moon can be associated with, how we bond to others, and our receptivity, as well as in mundane charts of the astrology of world events, the moon rules the people in mundane charts. Yeah, I'll pause here again to see if there are any more questions.
None have come through so far.
Okay. Excuse me. So there are multiple ways you can work with the moon. One of the first is working with the transiting moon. So every month, the moon rules through all 12 of the signs. And as I said, the moon rules the people. So you can see people's moods change as the moon moves to the different signs. When it's in an fire sign, people tend to be more, more exuberant, more agitated. Like in Leo, the fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Fire is the spark. It's like the life. It's a life-giving force. It's yang energy, pushing it out. And especially like Leo moons, you'll see people talking more animatedly with each other, see people more wearing red, being more dramatic, trying to get attention for themselves when the moon is in fire signs. In earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, people may be a little quieter because it's a yin energy. It's great to get things done, to focus on tasks, to focus on planning, things like that when the moon is in those signs. When it's in air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, people, again, it's wonderful to connect. Air connects. It's the intellect as well as, you need someone else for the air, whether you're speaking or listening. It's great times for people to get together and exchange ideas when the moon is in air signs. And lastly, water signs. Water is considered mute. You can think about, how fish or anything, or you go underwater, you can't talk underwater. So people tend to be more internal with the water signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. More emotional. Water holds the energy. Water needs a container. Yeah, so just even understanding how you react to different moons can be a key to helping yourself reduce stress, increase happiness, and increase your productivity. Learning for myself that, especially my corporate career, there would be days where I was so focused, so productive, and some where I just didn't want to do anything and felt like it was like pushing a rock uphill. And I learned the Pisces moon, I just need to slow down. I just need to let myself be. That's this water energy, the two fish swimming in opposite directions. It's just, for me, it's a time to go inward. And most people are like this. You can be more creative with the Pisces moon, but it's not like a task getting done moon. That's Virgo. I love the Virgo moon to just get the mundane tasks done, one after the other. So just working with the daily transiting moon can tell you so much about yourself. It can help you plan more effectively on when you'll be at your best for whatever it is you want to be doing. Also with your specific chart, like when the moon goes through your water houses, like the 12th house, especially in the 8th house, you may want to be aware of that because you may notice that you're more reactive or more emotional and things like that. So it can really help you to work with the daily moon. I recommend keeping a moon journal. It took me a couple of months to sync with the moon to really feel the different energies, but you can keep a moon journal. How do you feel? Who do you encounter? What observations do you make about people around you is a great thing to do. Also, if you are really intimately aware of your chart, when the moon hits your personal planets, things can materialize in your life.
There are some questions, Celeste. Would you like them?
Yes, please.
Okay. So first, we have a question about journaling, and The question is, do you recommend getting a dedicated moon journal or just using a blank journal and going from there?
I think you can do whichever you like. I absolutely love this journal. It's called the Honeycomb Collective. And what this is it's an almanac. So you give them your birth time, and it tells you in the journal what all of your transits. So when the moon is talking to any of your personal planets. So this is my favorite. This is a great one to use for that specific purpose. The Magic of I is another one. I also use the Notes app on my phone, my iPad, I separate everything out. Like I'll say there's a new moon in Virgo, and then every day I journal a little bit and can talk about the moon and stuff in there. Yeah, so there's multiple ways to do it, but this is my favorite. I also put the Celestial Insights word of the day in here with each day. Yes. And
Good idea.
Yeah, but let's see, what's today's word?
I put the link in the chat, everybody, for the Honeycomb Collective.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, today is, I haven't done it yet because I was traveling, but yeah, I put the Celestial Insights podcast words of the day in there as well. Okay.
And one more question, Celeste. Someone says, I'm curious about the void of course moon and how that affects folks. That's from Katrina. I don't know if you were going to talk about that at any point.
Yeah, so the void of course moon is really interesting, and the definitions, different people define it differently, different astrologers, but in general, it's thought of being, so the moon as it goes through each sign, it makes aspects with planets, and the void of course moon is the time between the last aspect the moon makes before it changes signs. And sometimes it's just a few minutes, sometimes it's like 8 hours, sometimes it's most of a day. And it is a time that's thought to be a time where if the moon is not working, neither should you be, or nothing will happen. You will not have anyone, like people aren't born typically during the void of course moon, although sometimes people are, and there's a delineation around that. But it's a time not to start anything new unless it's something you want to just stay that way, because there's no like momentum to move it forward, essentially. So it's recommended to start diets at the void of course moon. But yeah, in general, I keep aware of it. When there's like a huge break, especially but in general, wait, tell me what the question was again. I just got going and.
It was just about the void of course moon.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not a time to start new things typically. It's a time to like let yourself relax and slow down, especially if there's a big break before the sign changes.
There are a couple more questions. Celeste, do you want to have them now or wait?
Yes.
Later? Okay.
Yeah, let's do them now.
So Catalina asks, how can you help a water moon when they're going through a rough time? How to connect with them better? It's a very sensitive question. Very
So water moons, like I said, water is a mute sign. So depending on the person, like they might just want to be held, like just, even holding their hand or putting your arm around them if that's appropriate, or maybe just sitting with them silently if it's not someone you should be touching. You can just, sometimes people just want to be sat with. Sometimes they just want to be heard. I think with water moons, like connecting with them without even having to say anything can be really, really helpful for that energy. Yeah. And you might want to encourage them to like go for a walk or like get exercise, because exercise, like stoking the fire a little bit, can help pull people if someone's in like a depression, because people with water, strong water energy sometimes can have an issue with, just feeling like they're drowning with their emotions. So those would be some things to to do with someone with a water moon to help them process or help them feel better. And sometimes you can't help. Sometimes people just need to feel their emotions, but those are some things I hope help.
Great. And then Ella asks, how do we work out when the moon? Ella, I think maybe Ella's saying, how do we work out when in the months where the moon moves through each sign? I think Ella is asking about maybe working out and each sign and exercise and each sign. Is that right, Ella? Ella says no. Okay, sorry, Ella.
How is the question? How do you know when the moon is in which sign?
No. Yes. Ella says yes.
Okay.
How do you know when the moon is in each sign? Ella said yes. Thanks, Ella. Okay.
Yeah. So I post moon memos on Instagram and TikTok where I tell you what sign the moon is in. You can always go to astro.com. They have on their homepage, they tell you where every planet is, what degree it's at. You can also, if you get one of these journals, they tell you when the moon enters each sign. Yeah, there's also an app I like called it's a moon app. There are a lot of moon apps that they tell you what sign the moon is in. Yeah, I'll have to remember which one I have. Let's see. Moon. Oh, it's called Deluxe Moon. It's like a couple dollars, and they tell you all sorts of stuff, like the right days to cut your hair and this kind of stuff. It's pretty. I like that app. Yes.
Are you going to go through each of the signs and what their strengths are, Celeste? Because Marilyn is asking about the characteristics and strengths of Taurus moons, but
that's going to be in Moon Mastery if you take
okay.
my class. But just to do Taurus moons, yeah, the moon is what's called exalted in the sign of Taurus. In next week's Celestial Insights podcast, I'll talk about what is called the dignities. And so I love Taurus moon. The moon loves that sign because it gives like this earth grounding to the moon's watery energy. So Taurus moons are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy that can really appreciate like honoring the senses. And yeah, a lot of times Taurus moons it depends what it's talking to in your chart, but can be very beautifully grounded emotionally. Any other questions?
I think we got them all. If I missed anyone's, will you retype it in for me, please? And sorry if I missed it, but I think I got them all for now. So we'll let you keep going with your presentation, Celeste. And if something else comes through, I'll let you know.
Okay, great. So that's just working with the transiting moon. That's one of the most basic ways to work with the moon. Also working with the moon phases. So that relationship between the sun and the moon. There are 8 phases. I found that, working with all 8 was a bit much for me. So I work with the 4 main phases, the new moon, and then the new moon and the sun are together at the same degree at a new moon. They whisper secrets to each other about what they want to bring forth in your life. And then a week later, we have a first quarter moon where if you look in the sky, you can see it looks like a half moon where it's that sharp edge. This is a time where people tend to take action. It's called the crisis of action and make decisions. And then a week later, the full moon, all is revealed where we can see the whole story. It's illuminated and excuse me. And yeah, and you see the full moon in the sky. A week after that, now the moon's losing light. So as the moon gains light, it's like where we push things forward. As the moon loses light, it's where we wrap things up, disseminate and wrap things up. And the last quarter moon is a crisis of consciousness, where we have that psychological integration. Yeah. So, and this all happens within that 28 29-day period. Yes. So the sun represents our conscious mind and the moon our unconscious mind. So working with these cycles intentionally can help you make the unconscious conscious, as well as you can manifest your goals through intention settings. On my website, you can download my Setting Intentions with the Moon guide that talks about working with the cycles, and yeah, has worksheets to help you stay on track with the things you want to bring forward into your life. Every month, I recommend at the new moon setting intentions that have to do with the moon sign, the sign the moon is in. We are now in Virgo season. So we had a new moon in Virgo last Saturday, and it was just a wonderful time to set intentions about health and daily life. These are two topics, Virgo rules. So having the routines and rituals to support ourselves through life. Yeah. And you can think about how Virgo rules the intestines, and think about how the intestines, they keep the nutrients and, send everything else on its way. So separating the wheat from the chaff, bringing order to chaos, all these kinds of things are things you should be setting intentions now about. And it's still time to set intentions for the new moon in Virgo. We're still in the phase before the first quarter moon, where that you typically, I wouldn't set intentions after that. I mean, you can, but yeah. So anyway, so you could really manifest through goal setting, and like I did with retiring from my corporate career. And then you also set intentions for what house in your chart the new moon is falling in. And whether you set intentions or not, you will see things come to life with the new moon if your chart is activated. Especially if it's conjunct, right next to, opposite, or square one of your natal planets or points. So yeah, that's how we can work with the moon phases. It can help you tap into having better clarity and to make better decisions. You really learn to listen to your inner voice when you're working with these cycles and you're feeling like pushed around, especially around the first quarter moon, to do something, to take action. That's your inner voice telling you to do something. And yeah, pivot from seeking outside guidance to learning to listen within and trust within. Yeah, and really the connecting with the inner voice, it has been so helpful to myself to understand myself better by working with the moon.
Megan has a question, Celeste, that kind of ties in. What if our sun and moon signs are the same? Does that matter?
Well, that means you were born in either a new moon or a balsamic moon. So the new moon is the beginning of the cycle. And if your moon is at the same degree or higher, a bigger number than the sun, you were born at a new moon. And that gives you certain traits and things. It also informs personality, the moon. Sometimes people born in a new moon kind of keep their own counsel. Stephen Forrest calls them the avatar. And remember, it's a waxing phase. So there's this growing, this desire to like push energy out, but internal still. A lot of times new moon people are internal. And balsamic moon people, so that would be the moon was in a lower degree than the sun. That's the last part of the cycle where like it's a waning, a releasing. People, I'm a balsamic moon. There's like a sense of magic to people who have balsamic moons. I think Stephen Forrest calls it them one of the archetypes of the balsamic moon is the shaman. Yeah. So yeah, it does matter which side it's on. But yeah, so your emotional, your conscious and your subconscious are in the same sign. So there can be like a better connection possibly with how you need to be nurtured, but it's more complicated when we talk about planet being combust and stuff. But yeah, it depends what your sun and moon and also are doing, what house they're in, what they're doing with other planets, in terms of the aspects to really know the nature of it. But that's when they're in the same sign.
And Mariah asks, does it matter if our rising and moon signs are the same?
Okay, so you're a double something. So yeah, so the moon is either in your 12th house or your first house. So yeah, it depends. Yeah, and it depends how close it is to the ascendant. But yeah, having your moon and you could be very popular if you have your moon in your first house, could be a symbol of popularity. Having the moon in the 12th house may mean that it takes you time to connect with your emotional story. Yeah, the 12th house is somewhat hidden. It's called like locked up in the 12th house. So yeah, it's all dependent, but you may wear your emotions on your sleeve if it's in the first house. Like people may know like how you're feeling or thinking, because that's your identity. It's what people see when they walk into a room. It depends how close it is to your ascendant.
And Katrina, this fits right into kind of what you're talking about. Katrina asks, the Virgo new moon, which was at 4 Virgo, was conjunct my ascendant at 6 Virgo. And she's asking, would this affect my 12th house more than my ascendant, as 4 degrees Virgo was really in the 12th house?
Okay, so there's something called the 5-degree rule. So within 5 degrees of a house cusp, the energy is really focused on that house. So it's really your first house so think about like new starts, about your vitality is a first house topic, about your brand. Do you want to do any rebranding or anything like that? I think this is an important new moon for you, because new moon was square Mars exactly. So Mars may be giving you a push to take action in some way. You could be a midheaven yeah, maybe. I hope you're one of the people. It'd be great to look at your chart. We'll make sure to look at your chart since this is right on your ascendant, and I can show you the astrology in action in the hot takes section.
That sounds good. That's Katrina, so I'll make a note of that. And someone's asking about double. You use the term like double something. And do you use double Libra for double sun and moon, double moon and ascendant, sun and moon, any of that?
Any combination of sun, moon, and rising. If you have 2 in the same sign, there's like, it's a double something.
Okay, thanks. I think that's all the questions for now, Celeste, that I've bombarded you with. So.
Oh no, this is why I'm here. I like it to be interactive. I don't want to just.
Great.
It's not meant to just be.
I'm teasing you.
Information dump. Okay, and then there's also working with your natal moon. So the sign that your moon is in really speaks to how you need to be nurtured. As you connect deeper with, you can recognize things, and it gives you insights into your talents as well as your blind spots, understanding what your moon's doing and what it's talking to. It can help you. Understanding your moon can help you articulate your needs to your loved ones. It can help you be a better parent if understanding how your children are reactive as well as need to be nurtured. Can really be wonderful for relationship building, to be able to just have some frank conversations about, this is what I need to feel safe, or this is what I need to when I'm whatever. Also, the awareness of how you react can help you tame self-sabotaging patterns. Yeah, I use the moon cycles. I did this thing where I used the moon cycles to, I stopped drinking for a while. I think I did 6 weeks or something like that with the moons. But in my corporate career, I was, more involved with using alcohol as a means to like calm down or like relax or reward myself at the end of the workday. So this was while I was still working in corporate. I used the moon. I did a new moon thing where I just I gave a stop that self-sabotaging pattern. I mean, I'm drinking again, but it's not like it used to be. I also used the moon to do Prolon, this 5-day fast mimicking diet that changed my life. Yeah, I used that for that as well. Was there a question?
There is a question. Stephanie asks, does working with the natal moon change in dynamic when the North Node is conjunct to the natal moon?
Yes. Yeah. The North Node is an area of increase and destiny. Yeah. So North Node conjunct your natal moon may give you, if you're depending on your chart, help you sink in more. Like it can be a naturally more emotionally easy for where your soul wants you to grow to, with the moon conjunct the North Node. It can also, when people come in on your North Node and moon, you know, it may be more comfortable than typically with people because your moon's right there. Because the North Node tends to be like a stretch, whereas the South Node is what's comfortable. Donald Trump has his moon next to his South Node. And for some people, that can be like, the South Node is about habits and patterns as well, and that could be people who like emotionally have to learn how to not self-sabotage themselves when they have the moon next to the South Node. It also has to do with your upbringing and family and other things.
Heather has a question about house system. She's asking, how do you understand what type of house system? My moon is in the second house, but with whole houses, it's third house. How do you know which way to really understand your natal moon and transits?
I recommend, I mean, I use Placidus or Regiomontanus for my work. So I really recommend you use a house system. Whole sign is not really a house system, it's just whole sign. One of my teachers, Wade, can go on a tear about using whole sign houses, but yeah, I think you should like learn in practice by observing your own life to see, because I was talking to some people at the conference who felt like whole sign worked more for them than, especially if like they had planets like right at their ascendants were at the end of the degrees, like 27, 28, 29. They felt whole sign more was the story of their lives. For my chart and most of my clients, I've seen that Placidus works. So I think it's something you have to experiment with yourself. But the closer a planet is to an angle, I mean, the more important it is in your chart and in your life. So you can think about that as well.
And that's all the questions for now. So if you want to carry on with your slideshow, that'd be great.
Okay.
Lots of comments, though. I will say that. You can read these later.
Oh, good, good. I love comments.
So that's great.
Yes. Okay. So I think I got off track when I started talking about my prolon and my drinking. But yeah, but understanding the moon, like, yeah, understanding your natal moon sign awareness so that you can help you tame self-sabotaging patterns. So understanding your moon, and when there's a new moon that's in a like it's called a sextile or a trine or a square, like understanding that relationship can help you with understanding yourself as well better. Now, especially if you're born at night, and you can tell by looking at your chart if you're born at night, if the sun is under the horizon. That's all. And sect is an ancient technique. And so for people born at night, the moon may be more impactful for them than people born during the day. And really honoring their natal moon.
Celeste, will folks get a copy of this recording?
Yes, you will get it.
Has to leave and was just wondering, and I thought it was a good question.
Yes, you will get a copy of the recording.
And then someone's asking about a stellium with their moon, and how does that affect your moon if you have a stellium with your moon?
So a stellium is when you have 3 or more planets in the same sign or house. And yeah, it depends how close they are. When planets are conjunct, the energies essentially kind of merge, and it depends. The moon is very dependent on which planet it's conjunct to. So it's a big difference if it's conjunct Venus versus conjunct Saturn. So it depends, but it's like a merging of the energy. So also in predictive astrology, the moon is very important. Every year we have 2 eclipse seasons where the sun, moon, and earth, line up. And it's like stepping through a portal where when you turn and look back, there's a wall. So these are intense lunations, intense new moons and full moons. Although I learned at this conference, lunation means the new moon to the new moon cycle, but I call full moons lunations. I want to keep doing that. Yeah, they call syzygies. I don't like that word. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when I look at someone's chart, one of the first things I looked at are where were the eclipses? What houses are there in? Eclipses are about how, like, it's important what house it's in. And so going back to that question, I found that it really works in the Placidus system. Also, your progressed moon, which is something that speaks to where you are emotionally in life, as well as solar arc moons are used in predictive to know what's coming up for you. We typically look for multiple confirmations, different ways before saying, like, this looks like this is in focus. It can really help you understand your life cycles with the progressed moon phases. These change every 3.5 years. Also fertility and family planning. So people, especially if they're struggling to get pregnant, sometimes people can use astrology to help them know when the best time is to maybe try in vitro fertilization or whatever, or know when they're most likely to have a successful pregnancy. Okay, so these are a few examples of the moon in action. Are there any more questions, Jen, before I do this?
Yes, Christina is asking, will you share more about the aspects with the moon? I'm not sure if she means to her natal chart within her natal chart or aspects regarding transiting planets. Christina, I don't know if you want to comment before Celeste answers quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about that when we get to the chart examples. Sounds good. To people as well.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Lizzo's chart. And Lizzo is a singer this year she has just been, she's been famous for a while, but she's having this super amazing year this year. Now, her chart is rated C. So her birth time is in question, but we don't need a birth time for what I'm going to talk about with Lizzo, because on April 30th, there was an eclipse at 10 degrees of Taurus. It was a solar eclipse. So a new start to things, this big burst of energy. When there's an eclipse to your sun, which is like your identity, it's very important in life. And this eclipse was to her sun, Jupiter, and it was even kind of close to her Mercury in the sign of Taurus. And she had a new album around the time, a new TV show, as well as launched a shapewear line. So I'm sure her income has just exploded this year, but this is just an example. Like if I was looking at her chart, I would say, this looks like it could be a big year for you. Jupiter wants to bring us good things. It helps us expand. Too much Jupiter is not good, but it could be excess and overdoing it. But this is just symbolic of what a great year she's having. This sun and moon solar eclipse on her Jupiter, which also has to do with, fame and wealth and all that kind of stuff. Also, one of the big stories of the year, and I talked about this on my Celestial Insights on the Instagram Live, Jupiter and Neptune met, starting a new cycle for all of us at 24 Pisces. That was right near her North Node of destiny. And she launched a shapewear for larger sized women. So Jupiter, everything bigger, Neptune illusions and delusions. So shapewear is very Neptunian, trying to make, appear different than you really are. So I thought that was so fascinating that she launched her Yiddy, and she launched it on April 12th, the day of the Jupiter Neptune conjunction. So this is my story. So I posted a reel yesterday that I hit 10,000 followers on Instagram. After my friend Colin and I rode to the airport together, and he did a reel and he posted it, and I was close to 10,000, but that put me over. And this is the moon, the transiting moon. So the moon was where it was in the sky. It was I looked at the chart as soon as it happened, as soon as I saw it. It was right on my Uranus, and Uranus also speaks to popularity and things like that. And you can see Mercury is also very close to my Uranus, and Mars on my Venus. Mars rules my midheaven, my career line, in the 11th house of communities and groups and electronics and stuff. So you can see the story about how the transiting moon was something came to life. And it's so funny because I was also that same day, within hours, asked by Facebook to host do a corporate event for them. So I'm going to be doing that. And so Mars and Gemini brings things in twos. So I had those two big positive things happen yesterday. And this is a story of the progressed moon. So Meghan Markle launched her podcast on Spotify called Archetypes. And you can see here this was last week. Her progressed moon was at 27 Pisces, and the day of it, Mercury was at 27 Virgo, this opposition. Her chart is exact. We know she's got a AA rating. The 9th house, her progressed moon was in her 9th house of broadcasting. Mercury was in the 3rd house of communication. Neptune very close to her progressed moon. And I feel like archetypes is a Neptunian concept, because archetypes are like the collective image of certain things, whether it's a person or a thing. Like the mother, there's an archetypal energy. Divas, I guess she was talking about this week. So I thought that was so interesting. And the progressed moon is in a sextile with Pluto, the planet of power, and Pluto unearths things. And part of what she's trying to do is unearth all these topics, I guess. And Mercury was trine Pluto, so communicating and unearthing things. So that was a very interesting thing. And you also see with her, she also has a Mars ruling her midheaven in Aries, and Mars was on her part of fortune. Yeah, so could be a very successful enterprise for her. And I talked about this on the Celestial Insights podcast last week about how the sun was conjunct the fixed star of royalty, Regulus, and Venus was conjunct Diadem, which is the crown star. So I thought, and there was something else, I thought there was going to be a royalty news of a woman in the news. So this was her, the day she launched her podcast. I thought it was going to be Queen Elizabeth, but it was her.
There's a question about the progressed moon, Celeste, so I'm going to jump in here and toss that in because it seems appropriate. Alicia asks, should we look at transits with only our progressed moon? Does it become more important than the natal moon? She's wondering.
The progressed moon speaks to what you're going through emotionally now. I wouldn't say it's more important than the natal moon. The progressed moon, what's called, it kind of like translates the light. It's like it spotlights what's going on in the house, and how your what your emotional attention is on. And so when the progressed moon makes aspects, especially hard aspects to your natal planets, it's important. Yeah, because we emotionally feel things and then bring them out into our life. So it's important. I would not say it's more important than the, and there's a little background. So if everybody could go on mute, that'd be great.
Celeste, Kathleen is wondering which type of astrology software or website you're using.
So this is Solar Fire. And this is Solar Fire. And if you can get it at alabe.com. I love Solar Fire. It's so powerful. I highly recommend it. And you can get Celeste 15. You can get a 15% discount off of it. And eventually I'm going to teach a course on how to use it. There is a learning curve, but it's so powerful. It's amazing. So I see Dina's asking about a lunar return. So every month the moon comes back to where it was when you were born, and you have a lunar return, and you can cast a chart, and that talks about what will be in focus in the upcoming month for you. So I don't do anything specific for the lunar return, but I just watch to see how it unfolds. Okay. Now we're going to talk about the Moon Mastery Program, and then I'm going to do participants' charts. So this is my signature program, and it's a tool for self-discovery and manifesting with more ease. There's Moon Mastery 101 as well as 201, and each are 6 classes, and you can sign up for both or just Moon Mastery 101 right now. So I feel like the moon is a great place to deepen your understanding of astrology. If you're new, it's a great place to start learning. If you're established, it can help you deepen your practice, deepen your understanding of your own chart, other people's charts if you're a practicing astrologer. Yeah, I've had practicing astrologers like my friend Maria Maria Sophia Astro took the class and she really enjoyed it, and others who know a lot about astrology. Yeah. So really to help you deepen your connection with your big 3, experience astrology in action. There's a community, a VIP community for students to talk amongst themselves, as well as I answer questions. You have an option to have a study buddy, so someone to connect with, but I love the community building of this, more intimate class. Yeah. You'll understand things about cosmic compatibility, a framework for doing intention setting and growing your manifestation or for whatever you're working on, as well as you'll get tools to create an action plan for yourself for success. But really, the biggest thing is connecting in with your inner voice, spending time understanding yourself, your personality, your motivations, your drives, all of that stuff deeper. So yeah, why take the class? To help pivoting from outside validation to trusting your inner wisdom, understanding your cosmic blueprint. Yeah. And illuminating, some of the shadows that it's so helpful to deal with. And it's fun. Learning astrology is so much fun. And really working with the moon cycles can help you increase your joy, reduce your stress, achieve goals, and build better relationships. So this is the syllabus for the first 6 classes, and I will send this out with the recording so that you'll have it. But we talk about some of the basics about the magic of 12 and the elements and the modes and the polarities and the expression. Also understanding the horoscope and its building blocks, how to take care of your natal moon, as well as the transiting lunar phases, as well as the lunar phase you were born under. And then this framework for planning and intention setting. Moon Mastery 201 will go into deeper advanced planning and predicting what is likely to come up for you, as well as understanding the nodes and eclipses and astrology and action with the transits to natal planets, and the progressed moon and the progressed moon phases. So really a deep understanding of all things about the moon. Each class is on Zoom. They're 90 minutes. I'll be teaching this time on Mondays at 5 p.m. Pacific time. And by the end of the course, you'll have a new perspective to make more conscious decisions, improve your relationships, and achieve your goals. And the personalized framework will help you advance your journey. Moon Mastery 101, we talk about like 6 months out planning. And then you get these bonuses. You get this gorgeous set of moon phase and altar cards that you can, I have them up. I meant to bring them in here. I forgot. I'll show them next time, where you can print them out and like, so that you can put it, so that you can see what sign the moon is in. And it's a reminder of what phase it's in, a reminder to connect yourself with what's going on. Yeah. You get a 20% off for a coaching program or a reading. And you'll get the Wise Skies Collective. One of my collaborators, Tiffany, does a digital calendar every year. So it'll show you when the moons are on your phone or desktop. And yeah, I also teach for her organization. Yeah. And this is a Procyon bonus. Procyon is a fixed star that is like a firework. It's like something that you may get opportunities that you have to act fast with Procyon. So the first 10 students to sign up will get a free Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything about your natal chart, and I'll tape a video for you. And that's an $80 value. Yes. So I put the link in the bio. It's astrologybyceleste.com/classes. So if you want to sign up, that's where you can sign up now. If you just want to do Moon Mastery, it's one payment of $440 for the 6 weeks, or $260, 2 payments. Moon Mastery 201, the doors will open in October, and it's going to be $530 or 2 payments of $300. But if you sign up for both, you save one payment of $800 or 3 payments of $300. So if you get both now, you save $170 off of the price of you get that bonus. Yeah, so you can sign up for both of them if you want. So that would be 12 weeks together. So class starts on September 12th. And I hope to see some of you there. We have such a good time. I've had such wonderful experiences with the community. These are some of my favorite moon books, Stephen Forrest's The Book of the Moon, and Jan Spiller's New Moon Astrology. I got to meet Stephen Forrest in person at ESAR. It was amazing. He is such a nice, genuine man, a brilliant astrologer. Yes. And you can get my free guide. And this is the code for Solar Fire if you want 15% off Solar Fire software. Okay, let me stop sharing for a minute and see if are there any questions about Moon Mastery. Okay.
No questions about Moon Mastery are coming through, Celeste. Someone just...
Oh, thank you. Rosemary says, hi, Rosemary. She's a past student of Moon Mastery, and she's recommending it to everyone. Yes, and you get all thank you, Rosemary. Yes, you get to keep all the materials and the courses, and there's a portal for all the things. Yeah, you have it forever. Thank you, Rosemary. But here's the link if you want to sign up. Okay. Okay, let me do some of and class starts on September 12th, so sign up before then. Okay.
There was one more question from Christina, and I just want to toss that in here. It sounds like she has a 5th house moon with the strong square to Pluto, and she was wondering if you could comment on that.
Yeah, so moon square Pluto, that's a tough one. That's where there's like this emotional intensity. It can also be around, it depends, 5th house moon square Pluto. Yeah, it could be about your relationships, like you like a lot of intensity in relationship, or you go through these like life, death, rebirth cycles in relationship. It really depends on your whole chart. It can be around the relationship with your mother. The moon represents the mother in our chart. So yeah, or it can be something about family or home, but when that's activated, yeah, there can be transformative experiences or transmuting experiences.
Heather is wondering, Celeste, if you offer any scholarship or payment assistance for the courses.
You can email me directly, and we can talk about that. Yeah, I don't want finances to stop you from taking it if you really want to.
Do you want to say what your email address is, Celeste?
Oh yes, Celeste at astrologybyceleste.com. You want to type that in the chat?
I sure will. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I type it every day, so.
So if you want to, when I send out the recording, you can email me. Okay. Oh, let me see. Okay. So now let's do some hot takes on people's charts.
Great.
Let's start with the person, if she's still here, who had an ascendant at 6 Gemini.
That was Katrina, and I do have someone named Katrina's birth info.
If you're still here, Katrina, come off mute.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So go ahead,
I
Jen.
sent it earlier, but I can send it again if you want.
Jen can just read it to me. What is it, Jen?
It is June 8th, 1977. Katrina, interrupt me if this is wrong.
Sure.
And it's 12:45 p.m. in Geraldton, Geraldton, Ontario, Canada.
I'll just note that if Geraldton doesn't work, then I would type in Greenstone, Ontario, because they've amalgamated since I was born.
Okay.
And it's now a little multiple towns in one group.
Okay, this looks like 9. Is this right?
It's 9. Yeah, I was going to correct myself if I talked to you.
Okay. Yeah. So Katrina is a sun in Gemini, with her moon in Pisces and a Virgo rising. So those are all mutable signs. So you have a lot of mutable, changeable energy, but you also have your Mars and Venus and Taurus. So I'm sure you've had this is a really interesting connection with the wanting things to be the same, but wanting change. Yeah. Very, very interesting. And this is a really important time for you, especially in your career, Katrina, because Mars has entered the sign of Gemini, and it's going to stay there until next March. Because it's going to retrograde back from 25 degrees back to I believe 9 degrees of Gemini. So this is all in your 10th house of reputation, of your career, of your status, of your calling. And when a planet goes retrograde, it has the potential to cause a little bit of difficulties.
Okay.
So I want you to be present with that, because it's going to be stationing your ascendant, a square. And Mars is about our drive. It's about our energy. It also has to do with sex. It's about how we assert ourselves in this life. And so I want you to be careful about how you take actions. I would love for you to set intentions about how you can be mindful decision making and action taking, and not one thing with Mars can be about, it can be about impulsivity. If that's something that you like, I want you to create a mantra. I pause for 5 seconds before I whatever do anything or react, because you have this Pisces moon, which is, there's a lot of sensitivity there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I want you to really think about how this would be one of my new moon intentions for this Virgo new moon, about how I can have routines and rituals like the 5-second pause or whatever, deep breathing or something, use air in order to help myself from, from reacting impulsively or doing too much or overdoing things. You've got that Jupiter in your 10th house.
Mars
taking
is,
on too
I'm
much.
like so jittery this last week, and I know what's going on. I know, like, and I'm on the cusp of potentially starting I am starting my astrology business. I'm saying that out loud, but I'm trying to make sure I do everything appropriately and in the right steps. So I'm not doing everything all at once.
Okay.
I want to make sure that I have a checklist, which is all my Taurus checklist, and don't like miss anything. So I am trying to slow it down so I don't get overwhelmed at all.
I want you to think about how you can put one foot in front of the other. And yes. And yeah. And I think it's going to be really important for you to, be systematic, take step by step. And what a beautiful time to do it. Oh, that's the wrong thing. With this Virgo new moon. Yeah. So see how Katrina, she's taking action, Mars, at this new moon, to start her own business. And, have you really identified your brand and who you are as an astrologer, and what is your, I think it's good to focus on something like I do the moon.
I think for me, I want to give people validation about their natal charts. I'm starting slow, I'm starting simple.
Oh, good.
I see what you're doing, and you've got so many things, and I'm like, I'm just going to start here.
Perfect.
And I'm comfortable with the natal chart now. I just did level 3 for Deborah's school. So I'm comfortable with that. So I want to give people validation. That's a word that one of the mentors used, and it clicked with me.
Okay, wonderful, Katrina. Well, best of luck with your, with your business. I love it. Yes. And very interesting. Your progressed moon is at 2 Scorpio. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who is next, Jen?
Well, my Libra sun and moon want the first person who asked to get their chart or their chart done, T. Smith. And T. Smith's details are November 5th,
Let's make sure they're still here. T. Smith, are you still here? Come off mute and say something. Okay, why don't we do the next one?
Okay. Is Kathleen here? February 11th, 1965. Kathleen? Oh, T. Smith is here, Celeste.
Oh, okay.
I see you, T. Smith. Okay, I'll give you the info.
Okay.
For T. Smith. November 5th, 1969. 3:58 p.m.
Okay.
Oakland, California.
Ah, wonderful.
And then maybe you saw, Celeste, someone had asked if you could make the chart bigger.
Oh, okay. Make the chart bigger. Can you see? Is this big?
We can see 3 things. We can see the chart on the right. We can see the calculated charts, and up top we can see the current settings. So the
I'm
chart
sure
itself is kind of tiny.
I'm sharing the wrong screen. Sorry. Now can you see?
Yes, that's great.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yes. Okay, T. Smith, can you come off mute?
I'm off mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
How did you find me?
How did I find you? With from now I can't think of her, the tarot lady. You were on her with her
Oh,
one time, and then after that, I started following you ever since. Yes.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. Okay. So you're a Scorpio sun,
Yes.
Virgo moon, and Aries rising.
Yes.
This is a big year for you because the eclipses are in Taurus and Scorpio, and they're bouncing back and forth. So there's like new starts and endings and things. So this next eclipse is going to be at 2 degrees of Scorpio in your 7th house of the other, the partner, business partners, marriage partners, that sort of thing. So there may be like some changes or beginnings, or like your partner could have some new things happening. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Are you interested?
Yes, I am.
All righty now. That's interesting. So that could be a time. It's okay. Did I? Yeah, this could be a time around. I want you to think about the potential. Yeah, like getting yourself out there. When we have a solar eclipse in our 7th house, there is the potential for there to be a new partner could come in unexpectedly. Let's see, where's your Uranus? In Libra. Yeah, that's a possibility. Now, it also could have to do with your work or something like that, because this Sun, Moon, and Venus at the eclipse are squaring your Mars. So there could be something that comes in at work or in a community or something like that. Or there's like you feel a need to take action, or like the action could be happening in a relationship, or as well as at work or something. Do you have any interest in changing your job? Or
I do. Yes, I do.
yeah, so Jupiter, the planet of expansion, this looks like this could be a time around when you are changing jobs, because Jupiter is in a sextile to Mars. So I want you to like take action to like start moving forward to whatever you need to do your resume, start like interviewing or what have you, because the winds could be could be ready for you to make change.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, and the sun rules your 5th house of romance. Okay. Oh, this could be. Yeah. Okay. Is Kathleen still here?
I am.
Hi, Kathleen.
Hello. Hi.
Jen, do you want?
Yep, Kathleen's info is February 11th, 1965, 7:43 p.m. in Santa Clara, California.
Okay, Kathleen. So you're another Virgo rising, sun in Aquarius, moon in Gemini, and a Virgo rising. So I want you to be really, really, really present with this Mars and Gemini, because it's going to be in your 10th house. So like really stimulating in your career, but there can also be this emotional reactivity because you are a Gemini moon. Did you feel anything when Mars went into Gemini? You've got a lot of air, so.
I've been jittery lately and kind of on edge at work, and I'm just trying to keep my mouth zipped. And like you were talking about that pause for 5 seconds, I definitely have to do that like every 5 minutes at work right now. So yeah, I can kind of feel it.
Yeah, and I want you to consider all of that stuff that I said before, because yeah, when Mars stations at 25, it's going to be squaring your Mars, and you have Mars in your first house. So like buttoning your lip probably isn't your first inclination when you're frustrated or annoyed or like yeah, especially since you have so much air, you really like to say it out loud. So I'd really recommend you do some journaling to get the feelings out on paper rather than going ballistic on someone at work. That's I can feel it.
Oh yeah, I won't go ballistic. There's little things that just bug me, and I
Okay.
just know to keep my mouth quiet.
Okay.
But journaling sounds great.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that, because this could be like a little tense for you. Like you said, you're jittery. I want you to have like something like yoga or relax or breathing exercises, meditation, something to help you calm your nervous system during this time. Because it could be especially impactful to you. Yeah, and I pulled the Four of Wands in protection. So keep this in mind for, that the Four of Wands is a good card to have, but yeah, I am devoted to my connectedness is the mantra. I celebrate the wonder of loving bliss with my community. So think about, your moon moves to your 11th house of friends. How can you make sure you also connect in with people and friends over this next 7 months with Mars and Gemini at the top of your chart? I think would be good. Don't forget the importance of simple things, like a simple mantra, like a simple routine or ritual to support you. And don't get caught up in drama. Yeah. So those
I know
are
to stay away from drama.
Oh, good. Yes. Be your helpful, kind Virgo self. But you're a powerful person. You've got Pluto on your ascendant. So people can probably feel your energy when you're really frustrated or something. Have you found that?
Sometimes people have said, and I don't try to do anything towards it, but they say I'm intimidating. I'm a what?
That's Pluto. People can feel that primal energy coming from you. That's everyone with Pluto on their ascendant at some point was told people were intimidated by them. So just use your tools to stay calm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you've got that Aquarius. Yeah, you want to be in community and partnership and all of that kind of stuff with people, but yeah, just be aware that Mars is going to be kind of poking you. And the lunar eclipse is going to be on your Jupiter in the 9th house. So that'll be interesting. It'll activate your moon opposite Jupiter. Very interesting. This could be, so October could be an important time for you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Jen.
Celeste, do you want to do another chart, or there's one question?
Let's do the question and then I'll do another chart.
Okay, Heather is asking, is Mars on the IC related to inner child stuff?
Well, the 4th house, the IC, is this point, and the 4th house is about home, family, and foundation. So there's a couple of things. So it represents the father in your chart. So when you have Mars at the IC, Depends on which side, but if it's within 5 degrees, it's pretty much over here. You can think about how your father represents that Mars in the sign. I mean, whether they, depending on the sign, what is it someone who really pushed you to do things, or was there a lot of conflict from the father or things like that? So yes, it can very much have inner child stuff with in the IC. The IC is the most private part of your chart. It's under the horizon. It's like your most secret self in a lot of ways. So yeah.
Gemini is on Heather's 4th house cusp.
Okay. So
Mars is about to hit my Gemini 4th house on my Mercury.
Okay. So Mars can separate. So you may feel a desire to like remodel your house, to do a home project, to move. Yeah, you want to be present. There may be take action to like talk about things with, or talk about your childhood with your parents or one of your parents or someone in your family. These are all things like you can feel like you need to bring up things for resolution, or it could be you decide to do some therapy or something, or take moon mastery to really work on this stuff. Yeah, these are all things you can do because Mars rules your, oh, this is not your chart. Never mind. Those are some things.
Oh, interesting. Heather says, I just got asked to move out of my childhood home. That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's Mars on
she'll
your,
email you. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's Mars on your IC. Yeah. Okay. I can do a couple more.
Okay, cool. So next on the list is Miranda from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Are you still here, Miranda?
I'm still here.
Great. Okay, so Miranda's info is November 18th, 1990. 6:42 a.m.
6:24. I might have.
You're right. I read that wrong. You're right.
Yes, 6:24 a.m.
Thank you. Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga. Hopefully I spelled that right. So, oh, I got it. So we are in the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. So like transposing numbers, saying one thing when you meant the other, it's a good time to keep that in mind.
I don't usually do that too. So yes, let's blame Mercury.
I love Mercury retrograde to be able to say that. Oh, when I do my word scrambles. Okay. So Miranda, your sun is at 25 Scorpio. So the first thing that jumps out at me is that, was there something big that happened in your life around May 15th, that eclipse season? Because the moon was on the sun and the sun was opposite your sun. So was there any kind of releasing or shedding of an old story about yourself? Or
yeah, it that during that eclipse time, that season, there was a lot of things that come up between like my relationship with my mom and like some childhood stuff. So that was a major event. That was right on the 15th of May.
Yes. So
yeah.
A big thing about this eclipse was very difficult for a lot of people because Saturn, the planet of structure, authority, of boundaries, limitations, hardships, that sort of stuff, was in a square with the eclipse. So you see how the moon was on your sun, Saturn squaring this, and Saturn squaring the sun in your 7th house. And you said your mother, so family. Saturn was in the 4th house of family. So like a difficulty around and the mother story, moon is mother on that day. Yeah. A lot of people who were activated by that eclipse had big stuff happen. And it's really interesting because your Mars is at 8 degrees of Gemini and it's retrograde. So this Mars retrograde is going to be really important for you because it's in the sign of your natal Mars. Yeah. Have you felt anything since Mars went into Gemini?
There's been a lot of changes recently around work and like my home environment. There's just a lot of things in my life are shifting right now.
Okay, so Saturn is at your IC. Saturn is rubbing back and forth against your IC, that most private, personal part of your chart. And yeah, you have a Leo midheaven. So a lot of Leos, look at how Saturn is exactly opposite your midheaven. And on Sunday, there was Saturn and Venus were in opposition. Did you have like some kind of uncomfortableness or feelings of loneliness or like separation in a relationship? It could have been with a woman, or it could have been money or something. Even this weekend coming up, you can think about that. Yeah, lots of people with strong Leo placements have really been going through it. So just honor what your experiences are. When you have an eclipse in your first house, a lunar eclipse, which you had in May, there's this shedding. There's this shedding of old stories. You're a Scorpio. So you're probably feeling a real call to almost like let go of things, or to like the caterpillar to the butterfly is what I'm thinking for you. And that solar eclipse that's coming on the October 25th is going to be right on your part of fortune in the 12th house. So yeah, there's things that are changing for you. That the 12th house is the house of endings. It's a house of like, you may feel a real need to have some seclusion in some ways, or separation from others, so that you can do some kind of healing and things like that.
Yeah, that sounds pretty spot on. I'm transitioning jobs. I had lost my job recently, and I'm in a hiring process for a new one now. So that's, in the works, but I'm ending a course soon I've been in all year for trauma recovery coaching. It will be coming to an end shortly, in October, in a couple of months.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So I pulled the Two of Swords for you. So to me, this is a lot about, do you feel like you're torn between two decisions about something? Or do you just feel that, like, you feel like you just need some clarity about your direction?
Yeah, I think that's been it. I have the opportunity for this new job I'm in the hiring process of, and it sort of was divine timing that it was available during the time that I'm trying to move into the particular field. So there was indecisiveness a couple of weeks ago, I guess, in trying to figure out what direction I would go when I lost my job. But I've been moving into the mental health field, and it just so happened that right as losing the job, this one locally became available that I've applied to.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So the new job. Yeah, well, I would just suggest to take some time to not rush the decision with that Two of Swords. If you can, take some time. Yeah, and then I pulled the Hierophant. So think about, maybe even talking to a mentor or a spiritual advisor before making the decision. Yeah, and maybe unless you have to take it because of finances, if you can give yourself a little space, I think that would be good for you, because you're going through, like I said, this catharsis, this caterpillar period, that you maybe need some time to get really clear on how you want to move forward. Yeah. And this new moon is in your, that we just had, is in, where's Virgo in your chart? Your 11th house of hopes and dreams. So yeah, trining your north node in the third. So I want you to think about, yeah, just take some time to think about it would be my suggestion.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Celeste.
You're welcome. Okay. Jen?
Do you want to do another one, Celeste?
Yeah, let's do one more. And
Okay,
then
great. Is Ella from London still here? Ella from London?
Hi, I'm still here.
wonderful.
Okay, Celeste.
I'm not
Ella,
in London now, but I was born in London.
okay. Ella was born March 21st, 1987
Uh-huh.
at 2340. And
Okay.
yeah, London.
Okay. Okay, Ella. So, oh, you're an Aries sun. Aries sun, Sag moon, and Scorpio rising. I love this combination. So interesting. So you're an Aries sun, and your sun is next to Jupiter, but it's in the fourth house, which is a watery house. So do you feel that feisty, fiery energy, or are you more subdued than the Aries?
I'm probably quite a feisty, fiery energy person. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. And you've got your sun next to Jupiter, and Jupiter makes everything bigger. So that just gives you like a big spirit. I feel it. Yeah.
I've got a big
Yeah.
personality.
Yes, exactly. And you're a Scorpio rising. So like I feel like this big energy around. And are you investigative? Like, do you do something with work where you're getting to the bottom of things, or diving deep under the details of things with the Scorpio rising and the Virgo?
Not with work, probably, but like with myself. I definitely dive deep within myself, but not with my work. No.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You've got your moon in Sag between Saturn, moving away from Saturn towards Uranus. So it's really important for you to nurture your natal moon. So you need to have a sense of autonomy and freedom, I would think, and like you really enjoy, like a zest for life. Where do you live now?
I'm in Devon. I'm in England. I'm in Devon, like
Okay.
in the southwest of England. Like I know hardly anything about astrology, so this is like this is amazing. I'm loving this. You like saying about, literally you said something earlier about the natal moon and how if you're born close, like at nighttime, then you're like can be more in tune with like the moon, and I'm so affected by the moon cycle, like definitely. So yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. And so having routines and rituals to support yourself when emotionally you feel yourself. Sagittarius is a sign that's mutable energy. So do you struggle with impulsivity?
Probably. I'm very emotional.
Yeah.
Does
And you
that
might
make sense with my chart? I don't know.
Yes, you've got your moon in your first house, and it's between it's like Uranus is like a live wire. So it's almost like your emotional body is plugged into an electric socket. Yeah. And with your mother, is she it looks like, so Saturn can be a little restrictive, but Uranus can be a little explosive.
Are you saying is that what my mum was like? Because that sounds like her.
Yeah.
Very explosive. Yes.
Yeah. So so these are things that can nurturing your moon would be really healthy for you, just to like stay present with the moon cycles, because you may find the transiting moon as well as not just the full moon, new moon, all that stuff. Getting to know that better can really help you stay present with life and what's going on and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And as a Scorpio rising, you're also kind of burning off some old stories about yourself this year, because the eclipse is something ending in your life or ended recently since
I don't know.
like a job. Have you thought about changing jobs or?
My work, so I narrate audiobooks, so my work is like always new, you know, I always get new different jobs. I'm literally coming to the end of a really abundant period of like 7 months of non-stop work, and I've got one job left, and then I've got nothing scheduled in, so maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Oh, I love that you do audiobooks. Okay, so yeah, Saturn, the planet of structure, and rules your third house of communication, and you have Venus here. So this is how you make money. And your midheaven ruler, Mercury, your job rules your job, is in Pisces, a creative sign. So even though you're an Aries, you think like a Pisces. So you have this really creative energy. So I bet you do a great job with your narration of the audiobooks, like can really bring in that emotionality and move between that Saturn and Uranus, like the grounding and the excitement. I love it. Yeah.
With that, does that, when you said about something ending, does that fit with what I just said?
Yes,
like,
you said your jobs for right now are drying up again.
Yeah.
There may be this next eclipse is in your 11th house of hopes and dreams, and groups and organizations. So there may be some new opportunities coming into you from that. That could be coming in as this ebb and flow with your job happens. But also, like in the 12th house, it can be very internal when you have an eclipse in your 12th house. And this happened back in May. So you can think about whether there was any big internal shift in your life back in May, or it may have been more like something about how you think. But Saturn's on your Venus, and Saturn was, there can be, and Venus rules your 6th and 7th house. So I want you to just really, when you can be really tired or worn out when you have an eclipse activating the sign of your ascendant. So I want you to make sure you get enough rest and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, get extra rest. And and are you married or in a relationship?
Yeah, I'm married. I've been with the same person since I was 15.
Oh, wow.
So we've been married for 11 years nearly.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, just continuing to nurture the relationship and if things to come up around with Saturn on your Venus, maybe even a recommitment ceremony is something I feel, or just stating your love could be a nice thing to do with Mercury and Libra. So think about that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Ella. Okay, so yes. So I'm a little worn out today. So I apologize for anyone who I did not get to do the reading for you tonight, but there are 3 more of these, and I'll have the list. And so I'll try to make sure to get to as many people as I can. Are there any questions?
We had gotten through all the questions, Celeste. So unless anybody has any last questions that they want to type in the chat, you could go ahead.
I'll be sending out an email with the recording, as well as the information on Moon Mastery. I hope to see some of you in the class. And thank you so much for coming. It's such a joy for me to share about the moon. And thank you, Aunt Artie, for coming. Oh my God, I love seeing you. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Jen. I really appreciate
My
all the
pleasure.
help.
Thanks, everyone. Good to see everyone. Take care.